Srijata, finally we are here. We had quite a few hiccups, but finally we are here and able to record properly and have a chat. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. Yeah, I'm doing, I would say, I couldn't be better than this. And I'm chatting with you, so that makes it even better, I would say. Coming to hiccups, yes. You're talking to someone who has written a book called Setback Leadership. Don't you expect hiccups happening?
Yes, and the ability to deal with those setbacks. So you've already mentioned that. So I'm going to start with that. You are an international professional speaker. You wrote 5 books, with the most famous, the one that you just said, Setback Leadership, and you actually just told me that you wrote a 6th book during the lockdown in the last few months with a few other people as well. Not only that, you are you coach and you specialize in guiding businesses and individuals on how to rise above their challenges, their fears, their limiting beliefs, and really create success in their life, professional and private life. And you are also the membership chair of the Professional Speakers Association of India. I think I covered everything. Obviously, you're also a mother and a wife. Where do you find the time to do all those things?
How, what do you mean? We all have 24 hours with us. I have the same time as
I
well.
know, but by the time I have breakfast, half of my day is gone.
No, coming to the seriousness of how do I find time? So I think a couple of ways I find time. One is I'm absolutely passionate about what I do.
Mm,
So my passion drives me to do more and better every single time. That's
yeah.
one thing. Second thing, something that I find really energizing and exciting is impacting others' lives.
Mm,
And that's why I chose the subject called setback leadership to pursue through it, right? And that gives me that motivation to get up every morning and start doing more.
yeah.
Coming to the technicalities, how do I find time? The best thing that I have done with myself is I have segregated my day. All of
Mm,
us are working from home right now. Our work zone and our home zone has kind of blended
yeah.
right now. And I mean, before we could start, my daughter was just peeping in here, making it a little bit difficult for us to start.
Yeah.
But having said that, what I've done is I have created boundaries.
Yeah.
That, for example, this time to this time is my
Mm,
work time, so nobody disturbs.
yeah.
This time is my family time with my daughter and my family, and playing games in the family time, etc., etc. So my 24 hours day, I know how much time I spend for sleeping, how much time I'm spending with my family, how much time I'm spending with my work, and how
Mm,
much time I'm spending with my professional speakers association tasks. So that's how I find time for myself.
yeah. Yeah. So very, very, very organized. Then you're extremely organized. Mm,
Yes,
interesting.
and it had happened not because I wanted it to happen, but it was compulsion. Out of compulsion, I had to get organized because if I wasn't organized, I was falling apart,
Mm,
and that wasn't working out. That was creating a lot more, knots in the head, and that's why I had to get organized. I had to put down my foot and saying that, okay, let me figure out where am I depleting my times,
yeah.
where am I losing my time, and how can I then utilize it for productive stuff. So
Yeah.
that's how I pretty much find my time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if we go back to how we started, the books, the coaching, the speaking, and your background, I think from memory, was actually working in corporate world. How did you shift things? When did things change for you, and how did it all start?
Well, yes, I started my career in the corporate, like many of us do. Like I think 90% of us start our careers in corporate and then start doing some job or the other, and then finally figure out our passion. Something similar happened to me, and I think it happened because of two reasons. One was my own, um, how do I put it? It's my own drive to be better, to
Hmm.
find my passion, and the ability to, or wanting to take risks,
Yeah.
wanting to take, take life head on. So that was one thing. Second thing, the challenges, setbacks that life threw around me on my path. So every time there was a setup or setback that was thrown into my path, I made sure that I took a bigger leap of faith.
Right.
And that came from a characteristics of me. When I mean, from childhood, I've been a rebel. I have been someone who has always taken the off-beaten path. Road less traveled is what I would call it.
Yeah.
So that is one. Now to start, how did I first of all become a speaker? I didn't become a speaker at the beginning. That happened eventually. It
Hmm.
happened organically. It was not something that I wanted to become from the beginning. But from corporate, I wanted to actually become an entrepreneur. And I did so. I quit my corporate job after about 10 years of toiling in the corporate, and then I became an entrepreneur. And when I became an entrepreneur, that's when I started realizing my love for stage
Hmm.
and my love for impacting others' lives. As an entrepreneur, I would get called to speak on various stages to talk about my business, my motivation to start a business, what are the challenges that I'm facing, how am I, taking those challenges head on, how am I solving those, and so on and so forth. That's how I came to realize that I had a knack of impacting people. And I was liking that space. I was liking the space on stage, even
Hmm.
virtual space today. Earlier it was physical stage, but today I think even virtual space. So that's how I kind of transitioned first from corporate to the entrepreneurship space. And then I wrote a book, and then I became a speaker. So it
Right.
was a transition, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. And you right now, but one of the main things that you are doing is working with business leaders and helping them. What are the things that you enjoy the most about the work that you do with them?
Oh, I think I enjoy every bit of it. However, let me tell you a couple of things that I enjoy. The best thing that I love about working with business leaders is how their mindset change when I take them through the setback leadership tools and strategies.
Mm.
How they start spotting opportunities among the challenges. Like during COVID, I was talking to a few, business leaders, and they were saying that, our business is reduced. We are not able to get revenues. We are not able to get more sales, and finding it difficult. We have to chop off our workforce and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
When I sat down with them, I started working with them on the strategies that they can utilize to see the opportunities among those challenges that is coming out really big in front of their eyes. Their eyes light up. And they're like, we never thought about it from this
Mm.
perspective. So there is a huge shift in the way they think and they see the current situation, and how they can take out something as a win-win situation for everyone, not only
Mm.
for themselves, but all stakeholders in the company. So that's the best part of working with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And with working with various people, with various businesses, what are some of the most common things that you advise them on in terms of running their business, small businesses or bigger businesses? What are some of the things that you advise them on?
So for small businesses, of course, first of all, at this time specifically, they need to look into their cash inflow and outflow. So the first thing that I tell them is sit down
Mm.
in a calm, space. When we are muzzled with a lot of thoughts and a lot of stress, we cannot take straight decisions or productive decisions. We end up taking wrong decisions. As the saying goes, that you should never promise when you're too happy, and you should never take a decision when you're too sad, right? So I believe in that. And
I never
so
heard that saying. It's really it's a smart saying. I haven't heard it before. It's good.
yeah, it's a popular saying in India. We talk it in the local language here, but in English, in the gist, it translates that you should never promise something to someone when you're too happy, and you should never take a decision when you're too sad or stressed.
Yeah.
So, both are going to be very bad for you at the end of the day. You'll repent about it. So that's what I tell the businesses, first of all, that yes, we all are stressed out. We all are going through a time which is difficult. That's very true. But that doesn't mean that this is not a time that we cannot sail through. We can sail through it. We can survive through it. We can thrive through it.
Yeah.
But you need to have the right mindset to do it. Get yourself a calm space. Sit down there. Logically, take yourself out of the problem. Like become a third person in the problem. And then see it practically. You have to be seeing it practically and pragmatically. Once you see the problem that you're facing right now, then you will know, okay, is it a challenge with finances? Is it a challenge with your sales? Is it a challenge with your workforce? Is it a challenge with your human resource? Where is the challenge lying in? And what can be done to ease it, if not solve it completely?
Yeah.
Now, just to give an example for, if I may, so say if you must let go of people in your organization, you have no other choice but to let go of people because you're not able to afford them anymore. It's a strong decision. It's a very, very tough decision. They are good. You're doing amazing, but you must take that decision. What can you do best at that time? To me, if I was in that position, I would sit with my employees, explain them, show up my vulnerabilities, share my finances, tell them that, listen, I'm unable to afford you. What would you suggest? If they're okay to work with me, I would be happy to retain them with that situation. If not, I would be happy to let them go as well, because they have to run their families too. And the decision needs to be taken as a joint decision. You can't be saying, no, I'm chopping you off. That's an arbitrary way. That's an autocratic way of leadership, which is what I don't believe in. So these are the things that I actually suggest people, that you need to first pragmatically look at your problem. Only then can you find a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. And continuing with problems and solutions, obviously now the pandemic, there's a lot of businesses that are suffering, and I think a lot of the people that are actually going to be watching these are sole traders or small businesses. What is some of the advice or some suggestions that you would give people right now in these times? How do they work through it? How do they overcome? How do they not get bogged down and completely covered with everything that is coming their way?
Yeah, I think first of all, realize where you are financially, emotionally, as well as professionally. What's your current situation? Take a stock of that. If you think that no, your finances are terrible and you need to work on that, focus on that problem alone. Don't try to focus on every problem together. You will not find any solution.
Yeah.
All you will do is you will bog yourself down even further. So first figure out which is the biggest problem that you're facing right now as a sole trader or as a small business owner. If, say, for example, your problem is finance, then how do you sort it? Look at ways how you can expand yourself, how you can quickly pivot yourself to a way so that your earnings don't stop, or at least you're able to get, say, 50%, 30%, 20% of whatever earning that you were having earlier. Take advantage of the technologies that are available. Like, I can give you my example. At the beginning of March, my calendar was full until September. On 15th, 16th of March, by 20th of March, my calendar got wiped out.
Yes.
So, but then in the last 7 months, I have not been busier like this in my life. Productively busy, okay? So how did that happen? It's only because I took the opportunity that was lying in those challenges. Couple of things that has happened today because of this situation is the world has become a market. We don't have to really worry about whether you're in New Zealand, where I'm in India, and work in these spaces. Gyura, you want to come to India and speak, you don't even have to come to India to speak. You can speak in India from New Zealand, isn't it? And same for me as well, right? So that's one thing that we can do as sole proprietor. It's easier for us to move and shift and pivot. So do that. If it is something that is bothering you at an emotional level, for example, right? Like, I mean, you're feeling, well, it's the end of the world, I can't do anything about it. Stop. Just stop. Go to a calm place, do some meditation, write down every destructive thought that is coming in your mind, and then tear it off, throw it away. Once you do that, you will realize there is a lot more peace in your mind. And then you will be able to go to the next space, next decision.
Yeah.
If it is something to do with your profession, like you're losing a job, it's a terrible thing to happen. And I really wish that doesn't happen with you. But if it really happens, instead of sulking on why did I lose my job, I think you need to focus on what can I do to get another job or another work, or some kind of way that I can, earn something out of this situation.
Yeah.
I think these are primarily it to start with. And the more deeper you go, obviously there'll be more deeper solutions that will come out of it.
Yeah. 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 The next question is probably some things that you do yourself as well, but how do you keep yourself full of energy, so energized? Because you've had quite a few setbacks in your life as well, and some things that have tried to pull you down. How did you handle them? How do you stay so full of energy, so happy all the time, and just keep on going? Because it is quite amazing the amount of energy that you have.
Well, I mean, I wasn't like this earlier. I mean, I was like any of you, you know. I think I have to give credit to the setbacks that I have faced in my life, and every challenge, every setback that I have faced. Like, I mean, if you think about a challenge I've faced, whether it is to do with financial challenges, I've lost lots of money in my business. I mean, I almost went bankrupt, and that was one. I have been through emotional challenges. I'm a suicide survivor. I almost killed myself some time back, few years back, in fact. Then I have been through relationship challenges. I have been through professional challenges, personal challenges, lost a lot of friends and backstabbing and so on and so forth, different kinds of things.
Mm.
But, when I was going through these challenges, of course, I was like all of you, where I would have got bogged down with that challenge. But then every single time those challenges came, and I could somehow scrape myself through it, got up from that and start running. After running a few kilometers or some time, when I look back, I realize it was that challenge because of which I'm here where I am today. So I truly believe in my heart that what am I today? What you see, Srijata Bhatnagar, today is the amalgamation of the challenges that I have faced in my life. And that took me where am I today. So I'm actually grateful for those challenges to come in my life and the people who got those challenges in my life. Because of that, I became a person who am I today. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I think that keeps me energized and excited about life. And today, after so many years of experience with this, I believe every setback that we face has a positive reason behind it. I'm going to say one more saying here. It says that, whatever happens, happens for good. Even if I'm going to say this, but it might sound obnoxious. Even if you break your hand, there's a reason behind it, which is a good reason. I truly believe that the universe doesn't do anything bad to you knowingly, unless you are seeking it. So I think that's my secret of staying positive and energetic all the time, because I believe that whatever I am projecting to the world, I will attract the same thing. If I become sad, for example, if my face is sad, look at your face will also become sad.
I cannot be sad when I look at you. It's impossible.
But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to make me sad or make me upset. whenever I get upset, I do get upset. It's not I don't. But that I remain in that zone for maybe 5 to 10 minutes because my mind is constantly working. It's trained to work on the solution. It's trained to find a solution for every problem that I face. So I think it's the training that you give to your mind, that how does it help you?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, one final question because I'm really, really curious about this one. When I was reading through your biography and the information about you on the website, there was once at the end it said this: Srijata is known as the Iron Lady who also cries, and that I need to ask you about it. What does it mean? Where has it come from?
It came from an experience actually. So years back, when I was working on myself and I was making myself better, and when I started working on my speaking, basically, I was attending an event by my own mentor, and in that event, there was about 1,000 people, 1,000 of us, and he told us that you need to walk on broken pieces of glass. We went, what? Really? I don't think we can do that. And all of us thought that way. All 1,000 of us thought that way. And in my mind, we were like, oh no, we are going to definitely cut our feet, and we are going to go injured from here today, and so on and so forth. So what happened is that, actually, I'm telling you the wrong story. I'm so sorry.
No
It's
problem.
the wrong story I'm telling you. It's not the reason that. So it's actually the same event. But then the event was not about walking on broken pieces of glass. It was you. He had a session, or he had an experience session where he wanted all of us to bend a iron rod with our neck. So you see this soft portion of the neck.
Mm.
So he wanted all of us to break that piece. So initially, of course, we went bonkers that this is the softest portion of your body, and how can you go do that, etc., etc. And then finally, we had to do it. There was no choice. You couldn't have shied away from it.
Mm.
So when I started doing it, initially I thought, okay, let me give my best. And I'm strong. I can do it. So I tried doing it first time. Couldn't do it. Try doing it second time. Couldn't do it. The rod was poking my throat very badly. It was as if it was going to poke me and kill me, as if like that. So tried third time, I couldn't do it. And the inability to do that feeling was killing me inside.
Mm.
And what happened because of that emotion, that, the, I would say that the desperation of to be able to do it, yet not able to do it, was killing me from inside. And I started crying. And there were so many people over there, about 1,000 people over there. And they started looking at me. They stopped doing whatever they were doing and they started looking at me. So imagine 1,000 people are looking at me crying. And I know I have just failed. I couldn't do it. So then my mentor came. He stood with me. He said, let's do it together. And he became my partner. And he also put the rod in his throat, and he asked me to push it. Said, I trust you. And then I started pushing the rod with my throat. And I started pushing the rod. As I started pushing the rod, slowly the rod started bending.
Mm.
It bent so much that it dropped off. And my mentor came and gave me a hug. That finally did it. And that exhilaration of not able to do it, I kept crying in that. It was a happiness filled with success, and things like that. Then when I came down from the stage where we were performing this, each one of those 1,000 people started calling me Iron Lady. And I realized crying was strength, and it was not a sign of, you know, not so being so weak. It's not a sign of being weak. it's actually a sign of strength,
Mm.
because that crying, that desperation to do it made me do what I do. Since then, all people call me that.
Very, very nice story. The only problem is that now I am very, very curious about what happened with the broken glass as well.
So broken glasses is that's another story actually. So actually, the broken pieces, the glass pieces was the earlier exercise that we
Mm.
had to do as part of this entire program. And the bending rod was the second exercise. So again, the first exercise, obviously all of us thought from childhood, we know that you should never walk on broken pieces of glass. We all know that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we teach our kids, we tell everyone that you shouldn't be walking on broken pieces of glass. Be careful, right? When we break something on our house, we want everybody to be careful, and so that they don't step on it and
Yeah.
hurt themselves. So when our mentor asked us to walk on those broken pieces of glasses, we were going, seriously, are you aware what you're even telling us? This is not possible. In my mind, in our mind, we are thinking that it's not possible. Yes, it's not possible. But then he said, no, nothing doing, let's do it. Even if one person gets hurt, I will abort this session. So we were like, okay, that's a big promise. Let's try it. So we went and we started doing it. When I walked on broken pieces of glass first time, I just didn't realize what happened. As if I was in some trance, and some spirit was moving me from one end to the other end.
Mm.
I was like, no, this is not conscious. Something is happening unconsciously. I need to get conscious about it. So I went back again, walked back on it again to realize what's actually happening. And am I really doing this? Is it really broken pieces of glass? Am I seriously walking it without hurting myself? And what really happened? So I walked again on those pieces, this time absolutely aware of what I was doing. And as I walked past it, I realized my body, my mind, my spirit was aligned to take those broken pieces without hurting myself.
Mm.
I had the biggest realization of my life that day, that you, as a person, when you are completely aligned, when you are in alignment with your body, mind, spirit, you can take on any harmful things the best way possible with the best results coming out.
Mm.
So these are one of two of those experiences that I will cherish forever in my life. And I think another reason why am I who am I today, and why do you see me in such positive spirit?
Yeah, yeah. Well, these were amazing stories and amazing lessons, and I really, really appreciate that you shared those with me and with the people who will watch this. Srijata, if people would like to know a little bit more about you, get in touch with you, have a chat with you, what do they do? Where do they go to?
Oh, I'm very easily discoverable. You can search me in Google as Srijata Bhatnagar. You will find me. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn with the same name, Srijata Bhatnagar. I have a website called srijatabhatnagar.com where I have listed down all my work that I do, how you can connect with me, and so on and so forth. So anything that you please, you can choose that platform. I am active on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Wow.
I write a lot of blogs. I also have a YouTube channel where I post my views and other stories and everything, which can help people see opportunities in those challenges. So yeah, I mean, look for me. I'm happy to connect with you and work with you.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So that I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time and the lessons. And I am sure we will talk again in the near future.
Absolutely, dear. And I love chatting with you. In fact, you brought a lot of stories that I don't normally share with people that often.
I, I
That is
have
your credit completely.
I have the ability to pick things out of people.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant, characteristic of a person, because I personally believe when you are asked the right question, you get the right answers.
It's true.
Yeah, and you did that. You did that with me. Thank you so much for asking those questions.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. And it's morning for you now, so have an amazing day.
Thank you so much. You have a great evening, and I hope people love seeing this. They get something out of it and they move ahead of their challenges.
Great.